Hi, this is Joe Elliott, and you are listening to Appetite for Distortion with Brando.
We have Joe Elliott on the line. Joe, it's such a pleasure to meet with you and speak with you today.
Hey, Brandon.
First thing, I'm curious because you've accomplished so much in your career. How important is it to continue, not with Def Leppard, we'll get to that, but with Down and Outz, to do something new and creative with, I guess, the band that you're not most known for? How important is that still to do for you?
It's very important for me, and I think it's important for everybody in Def Leppard and the Down and Outs to be as actively artistic as possible. It's what we are born to do and blessed to be able to give the opportunity. There's a lot of people in the world that are born much better singers or better writers or better painters than people that do that for a living, but they never, through birthplace or bad timing or whatever, they never get the chance to do it. We get the chance to do this, and I don't want to waste a second where I could be writing a song, which is my passion. Rick Allen, for example, likes to paint in his time off. For me, my time off from Def Leppard is writing different types of songs that wouldn't have worked for Def Leppard, and that's where the Down and Out comes in. So it's very important. You know, I'm not the kind of guy that knows how to just sit around doing nothing. I don't know how to do that, and I don't really believe I was put on the planet to be that guy that just, you know, beer in hand watching, you know, the Sunday football every day. I mean, I like to do that, but I'm normally doing something else at the same time. I'm a two-occupation guy, if you like. You know, if I've got a telly on, I'm normally approving something or playing the guitar or writing a song or trying to write some lyrics or whatever. You know, very rarely do I just sit down and chill because I don't really know how to do it.
Sure, multitasking for sure, and I understand that. But someone with your catalog, you could still work, but you can tour the world just on that. But the creative, how is that always important to do to make it? Again, you can go out and be a band, you can do different things, but to make a new thing and put it out there in the world.
Well, yeah, new things are always important to us. They become less important the longer your career goes on because everybody gets wise to the fact, whether they admit it or not. And I'm talking here Paul McCartney, the Stones, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles. If they go out on tour, they're big enough to have to play stadiums. And we've just about achieved the same thing. And we realize that when you play stadiums, people aren't coming to hear 1 hour's worth of new music.
Right.
Stadiums are places to go and enjoy and relive what you know. And they're not educational platforms. They're entertainment platforms. So you and I could go buy tickets to see the Rolling Stones, and why would we want to do that? Because we want to hear Jumpin' Jack Flash. We want to hear Brown Sugar and Gimme Shelter, etc., because it's part of our DNA these days. If they've got a new album out, we're happy for them. And if they open the set with a new song, and then they play another one 30 minutes later with loads of stuff we know in between, we will indulge the new music. This is the we being the audience, not just you and I. I think most people think that way. If you want to hear brand new music non-stop, I think you have to be psychologically prepared for that, and it's normally some like open mic night in the basement of a club. You know, 20 people sharing I saw Ed Sheeran in front of 5 people before he came big moment. You know, that's what the new stuff's for. Otherwise, the best platform for new music is actually new music, literally CD, digital, vinyl, where people can listen to it in the comfort of their own environment to get used to it and then go and enjoy it live if the band tour. So it's really important, I think, to keep making new music. But with us, Def Leppard, I mean, here, we'll make new music. We're constantly writing, but we're not in a rush to put anything out just because we have a record deal and we have to put product out there. I think it's more important that Def Leppard just be Def Leppard, and that means playing live in front of people, and maybe once every 5 years we put a new record out, because that scratches a big enough itch for us these days, more so than say, not touring. I mean, that would be heartbreaking for us. The reason everybody wants to be in a band is to play live, not to spend hours and years in a studio. It wasn't anybody's dream to spend 5 years in a studio.
Sure.
But, to play in front of an audience in stadiums, that kind of thing, that's the ultimate goal for a band like us. So playing live is, at this moment in time, more important than new music. But we have not we haven't dissed new music at all. We've actually currently got a bunch of songs on the go, but we're just not in a rush to record them. We want them to be good, not quick.
Gotcha, right on. And continuing with the down and outs, not just the music. I'm excited for the song titles. I wish I can go down the entire track list, but I know you got another interview coming up in a few minutes. But the one title, I want to know if you could talk about it, because it stood out to me. White Punks on Dope. What is that about?
Well, that's not mine. That's the only song on the album that I didn't write.
Wow, okay.
That's a cover song by a band called the Tubes.
Okay.
Now, the Tubes, they had a certain amount of commercial success in the early 80s through MTV. But in the mid-70s, when they formed, they were much bigger in the UK than they were in America. They were big in San Francisco. I know that much. But White Punks on Dope is like it's a classic hybrid song between the Bowie-ish glam period and punk. It's got all the energy of punk, but it's got the kind of chord progressions and energy and oozes that kind of glam rock sexuality, if you like, that Bowie had in '73, which is the reason that we wanted to cover that song. But it's literally, you picked the one song I didn't write. So you'd have to ask the guys at Roddy what it's all about. But it's literally about isolation. I mean, Fee Waybill, the singer, is portraying as a character called Quaalude, this kind of loner kid who probably gets bullied at school, and he's not happy with his life, even though he comes from a rich area of LA, and he's basically down and out, which is why it so suits the band, the Down and Outs.
Okay. And
it's not an accident that we chose that song.
Right on. And perhaps I'm showing my age. I know the Tubes. I guess I didn't know that specific song, so I'm only half an idiot for not realizing that.
That's fine, man. We'll have to live and learn somehow.
Right on. I guess maybe I can squeeze in a couple more questions. Before, with everything that you've accomplished in your career, you're seeing a lot of big headlining between two big acts. A recent one like Green Day and Weezer. Is there any band out there that you would like to tour with or do something with, like a major act? Because you did stuff with Poison. Is there any other band out there that's currently touring, whether it be a Guns N' Roses, maybe a Metallica, any other major, Hall of Fame act that you see out there? You're like, what?
We did 60 shows last summer, including stadiums with Journey. That was probably as big as it gets. We were all over the States last year. We did 60 shows in 2018 with Journey, including places like Fenway Park, the Coors Stadium in Denver. It was amazing. We were pulling in 50,000 people at these shows, and between us and Journey, that was a pretty big tour. But I mean, you just name-checked there a ton of bands that we all love. Queen would be another one, the Rolling Stones, AC/DC. I mean, we're not, we've done a lot of festivals with these bands, but not necessarily on the same day. In fact, we're playing in Nashville next weekend, the day before Guns N' Roses headline it. So we got the Saturday night and they've got the Sunday night spot. We may just cross each other in the lobby of the hotel as we leave and they arrive, sort of thing. But rock and roll works great when you team two great bands together, no matter who it is, because it genuinely does bend the mathematical rule of 1 and 1 makes 2. No, 1 and 1 makes 3, because it's such an appealing thing of 3 hours of music that you probably know every song. So it really makes it's great value for money for the ticket buyer to have two bands that they know all the songs for. We did it with Kiss, we've done it with Bryan Adams, we've done it with all sorts of bands in the past, and it's worked a treat.
Right on. And so the last question I actually got from a listener on my Facebook page, this is from Brad, and he did mention that Manchester, Tennessee Exit 111 Festival that you are playing different days with GNR. He wants to know if you've actually had any interactions with the Guns N' Roses members over time, and perhaps have you ever been offered a Koa headlining bill with GNR throughout the years?
We've only ever done festivals with GNR or been to visit them on their shows. I remember I've seen them like 3 times, I believe. But coincidentally, and interesting maybe for Brad, is that I've actually been on stage in a band called the Kings of Chaos.
Right.
And in the Rock and Roll All-Stars, where it was Matt Sorum, Duff McKagan, Slash, and Gilby Clarke. And they were, and they had, you know, different singers, myself, Glenn Hughes, Sebastian Bach, Miles Kennedy. So Miles would sing the Guns N' Roses stuff, and I'd, you know, sometimes I'd get him to sing a backing vocal for a laugh or whatever. Or they would play, Duff McKagan played bass on Pour Some Sugar on Me and an Animal when I got up to do my little stint. So, yeah, I mean, we've toured together. We were in South Africa for a week. We've been in South America for 3 weeks. My interaction with those guys goes a long way. Slash, with Miles Kennedy, opened 4 shows for Def Leppard about 2-3 years ago. So we've known these guys since they broke big and we broke big, you know, because we all we didn't hang out, but we would bump into each other, and they've always been really bang-on guys. I remember once borrowing Axl's chiropractor because I needed an adjustment, and he says, "Dude, he's over there. Go use him." You know, these guys, they've always just you just muck in with them, you know. But I love Duff McKagan. I think he's got a solo album out at the moment.
Yes.
Came out about 6 months ago. You really should check it out. It's superb. It's called Loneliness, I think, or Tenderness. I can't remember what it's called.
Tenderness.
But it's beautiful. It's a fantastic record, and I'm a huge fan of him as a human being. You know, I think Duff's wonderful. They all are. They're all great guys. Slash is a great guy. I don't know Axl that well, but the rest of them I know pretty well, and they're all diamond geezers, as we like to say.
Well, if he lent you his chiropractor, I'm sure he's a good dude. Joe Elliott, I mean, this was a complete honor. I can't wait to hear the rest of the new Down and Outs. This is How We Roll. The new single is out now. The album comes out. It's available as of October 11th. Joe, thank you so much, and just continued success.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
But you know, we didn't mention Matt Sorum. Matt Sorum, we've worked a bunch with Matt Sorum, so that's really our solid connection to Guns N' Roses.
He's very charitable and really generous, and he's been in a number of our fundraising efforts to raise money for Backstage Music Professionals. In 2020, we did a Big Love benefit concert, a streaming concert. He was part of that. And now 12 Drummers Drumming, and we've done this great auction with 12 legendary drummers, including Rick and Matt Sorum and Joey Kramer and Ringo Starr and
Cindy Blackman.
Yeah, I mean, we had just an incredible line.
Sheila E. Mm-hmm. That was great.
And they donated drums for auction, and we raised money that way. And then we'll do that again this year.
Another chap called Ringo Starr, you may have heard of him.
I think I've heard of him. That's amazing. I haven't a Ringo on the show, but I've been lucky to have Sheila E. and Matt Sorum on the show.
Oh, cool.
When you, just to ask I guess a cliche question, Rick, what did you think of Guns N' Roses? Because when they were coming up, because Def Leppard came before them, what did you think of that Sunset Strip scene? And then Appetite for Destruction comes out. I guess, what did you think of GNR at that time in your life?
I thought that first record was just insane. I loved it. It was one of those records you couldn't play quietly. It had to be on Warp 10, preferably 11, and I thought that just kind of blew the doors off the place. It had that angst. It was just something. It was just something that you had to play loudly. So I really loved it.
Very cool, and it is cool that you have a little drummer society now with Matt Sorum. I don't know if you guys meet on Saturdays and sing Kumbaya with a drum circle or something like that.
I think that's a good suggestion. I'll mention it to him.
Perfect. I love it. It's not the same. I have my legs, but these are my leg braces.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I put, if you're not watching this on YouTube, I have a lot of band stickers. Sorry, I don't have any Def Leppard stickers on there.
No, but that's cool. I get that. That's so cool that you sort of take all the things you're passionate about with you.
Yeah, growing up, now I can show you my leg braces, and it's not as affecting me as it was when I was younger, because my trauma it's a nerve condition. I didn't have an accident. It's just slowly it's degenerative, and it affects your mental health, and I would hide it. I don't go out in shorts, but when I would see, especially, Lauren, what you're talking about, I would have friends that do what you do. But Rick, you telling your story, even though it's not the same as me, you being out there and just not being afraid to show who you are and continuing to do what you love and having your band, your friends back you up, like that story I've always held that with me. I'm like, he's a survivor of being different. If you want to create that umbrella, being different, if you want to phrase it that way.
Oh, I get what you're saying. It's, 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 At first, I really didn't want to do this. I wanted to disappear. After my accident, it was really difficult to be around people. I felt very self-conscious. I think my parents, and then, you know, family, and just people, letters from all over the world, really encouraging. And I think the best thing that the guys did in the band was give me time to really decide if I wanted to continue doing this or not. And once I discovered the power of the human spirit, I think that just kind of catapulted me into a different realm. It was like, oh, I can do this, and then it was a really a conscious decision to want to continue in my physical state, and, you know, expose myself to, you know, I don't know, you know, judgment, ridicule, you know, like, you know, the guy up on stage that's different, you know. But I think once you can get over that, then you're really on the path.
Vivian Campbell, how are you, sir?
I am splendidly well. Thank you very much.
Awesome. You are, I mean, I appreciate this time. You are a super busy dude. New music, new videos, about to embark on tour. Is this an exciting time for you, or is it kind of just almost like a spring training for an athlete and you just got to go through it all until you get going?
Oh, I think we've had enough rest, you know.
True.
we're ready to go. I mean, although having said that, I mean, we're about to head off to LA to rehearse for a few weeks, which, you know, in years gone by, we'd only rehearse a few days before a tour, but that's because we were doing it with great frequency. So we're giving ourselves this cushion of time, you know, to get back in there and get familiar with it all again. And we're going to be playing some of the new songs too, which obviously will require a bit of work.
Cool. And speaking of one of the new songs, which comes with a new video, Kick, you might be the best dressed person in Def Leppard, if I may say that.
Well, thank you, because I think we're all pretty spiffily dressed. So
you are. I mean, Phil is usually half naked half the time, but I mean,
yeah.
But I guess I'm curious because you have a very dapper kind of Al Capone pimp, like white, striped suit. So I want to know, do you dress yourself for music videos? Do you like making music videos after all this time?
Well, no and no.
Oh, okay.
We do not dress ourselves. I think, you know, we deliberately tried to, you know, ramp up our image a little bit for this. You know, we are of a certain age, and, you know, it's a little bit of professional help is always a good thing. So we worked with a great stylist for these videos and photo shoots and whatnot. And, you know, we're trying to age gracefully, but yet still keep that rock and roll edge going, you know. And as regards, do I enjoy making videos? No. It's probably my least favorite aspect of what it is I do for a living, to be honest. Having said that, I mean, these last couple we made were relatively easy in the bigger picture, you know, but it's always been a strange thing to me, you know. I always cut my hands when I make music videos, come thrashing at my guitar, because it's not plugged in, so I can't hear it, so I just hit it harder. So I always, you know, I never feel it at the time, but then, you know, when you finish doing the take and I look down and there's blood streaming off my right hand, I think, how'd they do that? But I always do it.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, because you don't know, you're just mimicking it, and you have no idea, you're just miming it. So that's interesting, because I'm curious about that, because you're not actually playing during a video, so I wondered if you enjoyed it. But let's talk about when you're actually starting to play. So I know we spoke about the amount of rest. I mean, this world got almost like a 2-year rest. I guess at this point, when you're set out to embark on this major tour with Motley Crue and Poison and Joan Jett, is the word eager? Or is it because this has just been hyped for so long? Is there any sort of nerves? I guess, how do you feel about this finally happening?
Oh, well, definitely eager. Yeah, I think we're all very eager to get going on this, you know. Yeah, it's been a long time for us. This will be the longest time we have ever not played together as a band. So, which is why we're scheduling so much rehearsal time. But having said that, I anticipate, here's how rehearsals are going to go. The very first day, we're going to sound awful. like dreadful. Like it's going to be embarrassing. We're all going to look at each other and think, what the hell happened? What went wrong? And by day 2, it's going to be, oh, that's much better. That sounds like Def Leppard. And by the end of the first week, I think we'll probably be good to go. But we're definitely, scheduling more than 1 week. I think we have about 3 weeks scheduled for rehearsal. So, but it should be good. And I say that because I started doing shows again last summer with my side band, Last in Line. And we went to Las Vegas and rehearsed for a couple of days. And the first day we were in the rehearsal studio playing together, we were embarrassingly bad. And I just couldn't believe it. So I had that experience. So I anticipate that the first day of Def Leppard rehearsal is going to be, what went wrong here? But it'll come back quick. It always does. You just have to find that connection again.
That's just so amazing. Somebody as accomplished as you and Def Leppard, all the accolades, it makes you real human, just knowing that you just can't just go on stage and be Def Leppard, that you have to practice and put in the work like the rest of us. So I don't know, it makes me feel good, if anything, knowing that you are human beings after all. Yeah,
well, there's the strange thing about when a band plays live, and it's not only the notes that you play, but it's the space between the notes, and it's that air in between that really defines the chemistry of the band. That you got to be in sync with each other. You got to be breathing in at the same time and breathing out at the same time, metaphorically speaking. So, but it's something that all good bands have. But I did notice from my experience with Last in Line that when you take a couple of years away from it, it takes at least 24 hours to come back.
Sure.
Once you start.
Sure. Yeah. Now, I know I only have you here for a few more minutes, but I've been very lucky enough. Not just to have you on the podcast now, but Joe Elliott, Rick Allen was on about a month ago, and I do something on this podcast. If you're not familiar, Appetite for Distortion. I have a Guns N' Roses theme just to be different. Everybody and their mother has a podcast. I want to be a little different, so I call it a 6 degrees of GNR Bacon. So I've asked that of Phil, I've asked that of Joe, and of course, Def Leppard has been on some festivals. Rick Allen talked about his friendship with Matt Sorum. So I guess I'm curious, do you have a good 6 degrees of GNR Bacon story? Are you friendly with any of the guys? Maybe an old school story, seeing them live? Just something that we may not know about you and your connection to Guns N' Roses.
I actually don't really. I've met Slash a few times. I met Duff, super nice guys. But I don't really, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
But I don't live in LA anymore. I live in New Hampshire last several years, and even before then, when I was living in LA, I didn't get out much, to be honest, So I never met a lot of celebs.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a bit of a homebody myself. That's why this pandemic, obviously it's terrible, but it's been a blessing in disguise for hermits like me. But I guess it's a nice segue, because we were just talking about the little time that maybe you have to practice and going on stage and fine-tuning things. So I'm going back a few years now to find my 6 degrees of GNR Bacon. Of course, one of your first shows with Def Leppard was the Freddie Mercury tribute, correct?
Yeah, that's right. They played at that, yes.
Right. Yeah. So if you could, do you have any stories from that, or just talk about that experience of playing that just iconic concert, the Freddie Mercury tribute concert?
Yeah, it was all quite surreal because there were so many celebrities there. I remember, there were like supermodels wandering the halls, just you'd be walking by people and, you think I recognize that person. And you realize that they're an A-list actress or something, and, Elton John came into our dressing room to say hello. That doesn't happen every day, and, obviously the guys from Queen, we've known Brian May has been a great champion of Def Leppard over the years. And, he kind of, looked after us a lot that day and even got up on stage with us and played, so that it was just a very, very surreal sort of a day. It wasn't your typical Saturday.
No, it was not your typical Saturday. It's a very well put. To bring it back to today, what gets you excited more? New music or a new tour? Or just getting out and playing in front of people? or both?
Well, both. I mean, certainly after a few years off, any sort of activity is exciting. I am looking forward to the tour. I am looking forward to playing new music on this tour. That's always good. It's always nice to go out and play something new, and especially if it's something new that you're excited about. And I think we're all very bullish on this record, as is our record label too. It's great to be back working with Universal and to have such a great team there. So, there's a real feeling across the board that there's life in this record and there's excitement behind it. And so we're going to be, like I said, we're going to be bullish on it. We're going to be strong on it. We're going to go out and play probably more new songs than people might be expecting us to play, which is good for us. I mean, we're definitely excited about that.
Yeah, and you guys, I don't think you guys are stopping anytime soon.
Hope not.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I mean, play new songs now and play even more new songs after the next album. Vivian, thank you so much for your time. I hope we get to do this again.
Pleasure, Brandon.